The battle for Willow Creek. I'd always dreamed of a quiet life, far from the chaos of city noise and nosy neighbors. So when my wife, Ellen, and I found a 10-acre plot nestled in the rolling hills of Tennessee, we didn't think twice. It was perfect, a secluded haven with a winding dirt road, towering oaks, and not a soul in sight. I built our home myself, a sturdy lodge with cedar beams, solar panels, and a basement strong enough to weather any storm. We weren't survivalists, but I'd spent 20 years as a county deputy, and old habits die hard. I liked being ready for anything. Ellen, a former FBI analyst with a knack for staying cool under pressure, took a remote job with the regional office after her Nashville branch downsized. I fixed up old motorcycles in my garage, tended our peach orchard, and enjoyed the silence. Our property was a fortress of peace, gated with a keypad, cameras on every corner, and a clear message. This was our land, our rules. But peace, it turns out, is a fragile thing when someone decides they own you. The trouble started 6 months ago with a letter in our mailbox. It wasn't from the county, it was from the Willow Creek Estates HOA, complete with a fancy crest and a tone that dripped with superiority. The letter kindly reminded us that all properties in the area had to meet their aesthetic standards, specifically calling out our iron gate for obstructing scenic views. The problem was, our land was a full mile outside their subdivision. I chuckled, then tossed it in the trash. Big mistake. A week later, another letter arrived, this time threatening enforcement action over our non-compliant boundary markers. I mailed them a copy of our deed, the county survey, and a post-it note that read, "Not your land, not your problem." I figured that'd be the end of it. I was wrong. One crisp October morning, I spotted a silver SUV parked near our gate. A woman in her late 50s, clipboard in hand, sunglasses perched like she was auditioning for a real estate ad, stood there sizing up my property. I strolled down the drive, keeping my tone civil. "Can I help you?" She flashed a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Mr. Carter? I'm Brenda Walsh, president of Willow Creek Estates HOA. We need to discuss your gate's impact on our community's harmony." I didn't offer my hand. "I'm not in your HOA, ma'am. My land's private." She launched into a spiel about adjacent property obligations and visual cohesion. I cut her off. "You're on my property. Leave." She snapped a few photos, muttered about further steps, and drove off. That night, Ellen dug into her old FBI files. Brenda's name rang a bell. She'd been tied to a shady HOA in Arizona that collapsed after trying to strong-arm landowners. "She's got a history," Ellen said, smirking. "And she's not done." I bolted an extra lock on the gate and added a camera to cover the tree line. Brenda didn't scare me, but I'd seen her type before, people who think they're above the law because they've got a title and a grudge. Sure enough, she came back, and this time she brought muscle. It was a Saturday, the kind of day I'd usually spend tinkering in the garage. My phone pinged with a motion alert, 3 figures at the gate. Brenda stood front and center, flanked by 2 men in crisp black polos, earpieces dangling like they were playing Secret Service. One was built like a linebacker, all brawn and no brains. The other stopped me cold. Travis Boone, a disgraced deputy I'd testified against years ago after he got caught selling impounded guns. He'd sworn revenge, and now here he was, smirking at my gate. I hit the intercom. "State your business." Brenda leaned in, voice syrupy. "Mr. Carter, we're conducting a mandatory inspection per HOA Code 7.2, shared boundary compliance." I laughed. "There's no shared boundary, Brenda. You've got no jurisdiction." She waved her clipboard. "Your gate disrupts our designated greenway. We've had complaints." Travis stepped toward the keypad, hand on his belt like he still had a badge. "Touch that," I warned, "and you're on camera for trespassing." Brenda didn't blink. "We're authorized to assess violations under emergency provisions." Then she pulled out her phone and dialed 911, right there in broad daylight. I knew the playbook: fake a crisis, use buzzwords like threat and unstable, and get a squad car rolling. She stared into my camera, voice trembling. "I'm at a residence with an aggressive male. There's shouting inside, possibly someone in distress. I'm scared for my safety." My blood boiled, but then I remembered. Ellen was on dispatch that morning. She'd hear every word and know it was a lie. Brenda hung up, feigning fear, while Travis fiddled with the gate's latch, holding a tool that looked like a lockpick. They thought they were untouchable, but they didn't know Ellen had already flagged the call. She'd pulled Travis's record-revoked license, no legal right to carry anything, and traced Brenda's voice to that Arizona scam. The stage was set, and Brenda's little performance was about to flop. No sheriff showed up. Instead, a black SUV with tinted windows rolled up the drive. Two federal agents stepped out, one in a tactical vest, the other with a badge on his belt. Brenda waved like she'd called in the cavalry. "Officers, thank God." The older agent cut her off. "Step away from the gate, ma'am." Her smile faltered. "I'm the complainant." The younger agent opened a file. "Exactly. We're investigating misuse of emergency services and false reporting." "Hands where we can see them." Travis froze as they frisked him, pulling a small device from his pocket, a signal jammer, illegal without a license he didn't have. I stepped out, holding a USB drive. "Got it all on video, agents." 8 angles, time-stamped. They nodded, recognizing me as one of their own from my deputy days. I handed over the deed, survey, and footage of Brenda taping a final notice to my gate, plus Travis creeping around with his jammer. The agents skimmed the documents, then turned to Brenda. "Ms. Walsh, formerly of Desert Pines HOA, shut down for fraudulent land claims. Sound familiar?" Her jaw dropped, but she said nothing. They didn't arrest her, not yet. They took statements, confiscated devices, and told Travis not to leave town. As they drove off, Brenda shouted, "This isn't over." I turned to Ellen. "How deep's their hole?" She grinned. "They just tripped a federal wire." "It's deep." The attacks didn't stop. A county letter claimed my drainage ditch was flooding Willow Creek's land, except photos showed someone had dug it up with a shovel to redirect water. Then, animal control got tips about our retired K9, Max, being unlicensed. We showed his papers. They apologized. The worst came when I noticed my peach trees wilting. A lab test confirmed industrial herbicide, injected into the roots. Half the orchard, 30 trees gone. The cameras caught nothing. Whoever did it knew the blind spots. Ellen's eyes burned. This is war. Then, late one night, the perimeter alarm tripped. I pulled up the feed, Travis, in a hoodie, attaching a GPS tracker to the gate. I called the sheriff, who caught him down the road, claiming he was out for a run. The tracker's signal matched one Ellen had traced near our solar panels days earlier. But the final straw was a 911 call reporting a bomb on our property, pinpointing our generator. The bomb squad tore up the yard, finding nothing but a rusted trap and a confused possum. Ellen filed a report. False threat, attempted terror hoax. Brenda had crossed a line she couldn't uncross. We sued the next week. Our lawyer, Diane Holt, a former prosecutor with a reputation for shredding liars, built a case against Brenda, Travis, and the HOA for harassment, property destruction, conspiracy, and emotional distress. The orchard damage alone cost $250,000, not counting lost harvests. Diane subpoenaed HOA records, uncovering a memo plotting to reclaim nearby lands through implied consent. It wasn't a mistake, it was a scheme. Brenda tried to fight back. She offered a neighbor $5,000 to lie about me attending HOA meetings. He told her to get lost. Travis got caught hacking our camera server, claiming he was searching for a drone. Brenda held a press conference, calling us reclusive threats to community values. The local news aired it, but the FBI countered with a statement confirming Ellen had caught Brenda's 911 lie, tying it to a federal probe. The HOA board started crumbling. 2 members apologized, 1 quit, and offered to testify. The trial was a spectacle. Locals packed the courtroom, reporters scribbling furiously. Diane opened with a bombshell. "This isn't about gates or aesthetics. It's about an HOA that thought it could bully its way onto private land." Ellen testified about the 911 call, her voice steady as the audio played Brenda's fake sobs against the sound of crickets. An agent detailed Travis's illegal jammer and fake security gear. Our arborist showed photos of poisoned roots, estimating a decade of lost yields. The footage sealed it. Brenda's notices, Travis's midnight prowling, the bomb squad's futile search. Brenda's lawyer stammered about misunderstandings. Diane slid the HOA's memo across the judge's bench. This was a calculated land grab. The judge, a no-nonsense vet with a crew cut, stared at Brenda. "Anything to say?"